Hello and welcome back to the Powerful Journey podcast. We are super excited to have you back with us tonight. And just a few announcements before we get started. If you haven't purchased your ticket yet for the April Powerful Journey Women's Conference, what are you waiting for? It's open, the link is available. And so we are looking forward to having you attend the conference, whether it is in person or virtual. We look forward to seeing you. We also want to remind you that we have the 14-day free trial still for our Writer's Journey community. We would love to have you come, jump in and see if it's a good fit for you and begin to write your book along with some amazing women that are already in the group. Well, tonight's podcast interview, it's going to be with the women who have finished their manuscripts. Y'all know I love to cheer you on. So we are cheering them on tonight because they have completed their manuscripts. They've turned them in. And so what we're going to do tonight is just give you a behind the scene look at what it takes to create a manuscript and get it ready for your published book. And we're doing this in front of our Writer's Journey community tonight. So there is a group of women that are here who are excited about the ones who have turned in their manuscripts, and the others that are here are still writing their manuscripts. So we are going to get started, and I am going to ask my first question to Judith. And Judith, if you would unmute and come on, what I'd like for you to do, Judith, is tell them the title of your book, and then we'll ask the question.
Hi, my name is Judith, and I'm so glad to be here. The title of my book is I Won't Do It Anymore.
Very good, Judith. And my question for you is, the writing process can be emotionally intense. How did you manage the emotional highs and lows that often accomplish the creation of a book? How did you manage it?
Well, thanks for asking that question. The highs were at the beginning is I've always wanted to do this, and I just felt like I could do it. And I kept telling myself that I'm going to do it. But the lows came in more stronger than the highs because I was very frightened that I had no idea what I was doing. I've never written before. I didn't feel confident enough to say that I could do it. But working with you, Miss Phyllis, and all of the authors that are in this group gave me the confidence, and just listening to them and the things that they were dealing with and how they dealt with it helped me to deal with the fears that I had. So my highs became stronger. So I started telling myself that you can do it, and you're going to do it, and you have to do it because someone needs to know your story. Because this was it's a problem that I dealt with and took along throughout my adult life, starting at 6 years old. So I know and believe that my story is going to help some teenagers, some adults, some younger children, younger generation. Once they read my story, they will take something from this and learn from letting go of your fears and your childhood trauma.
Very good. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I'm sure that your answer just helped someone else who is nervous about starting to write their book, or just needed some confidence or push or motivation or inspiration, Judith, I'm sure that they just got it from your answer. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to move over to Miss Ada. And Miss Ada, I am going to ask you the same question as far as the title of your book. But the question that I have for you, Miss Ada, is what sparked the initial idea for your book?
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. I enjoy being here. First of all, it's just a pleasure to share. The title of my book is Climbing Out of Fear. And it was inspired by the fears in my own life and what I had to do at a time that I didn't realize that fears could be a blessing. So what I want everyone to know from reading this book is that fear is not always something bad. The intention may be, but how God uses it can be your blessing. And it has been my blessing throughout my life. So climbing out of fear, I thought, well, that's a skill that we all need to have because fear is real. Even though God did not give us a spirit of fear, fear lurks around all of us all the time in some form. But if we don't recognize that it can be a blessing, we're so busy hiding from it. So all of those little pieces is what inspired me to write Climbing Out of Fear. And then I have lived a long life, so I have all kind of little stories and things that happen. And so my children would say to me, you should write it. My friends or some of my students would say, oh, you should write about that. Well, I always thought, yeah, right, because my background didn't have all this polished education. And everything I had to learn, I learned on my own, I thought, until I got to a stage where I recognized there was nothing that I was doing that was motivated by me. It was motivated by the God spirit that lives in me, even though I was afraid. So that all those things. And then my youngest daughter was invited to the Authors Academy by Miss Phyllis. And she is my cheering squad in everything. So she kept saying to me, Mom, I met this group of women. They stories, everybody's just crying. You could do this. You need to tell your story. And she kept saying this. And finally, she plugged me in with Miss Phyllis. And that was the beginning. And I don't know where the ending will take place here because she keep pushing and Miss Phyllis is not going to let go. She is such a wonderful coach. You can do it. And there has been times during this writing with all the ups and downs, I wanted to stop. But the thing that I knew that would be giving the negative or the adversary what the adversary was looking for. He doesn't want us to share that we have gone through these trials and tribulations and others are going through them as well. And what we have gone through would tell someone, hey, I can do that too. And so I am so happy to be a part of this group. And I thank you for having me, Miss Phyllis.
We are super excited that you are here. I mentioned to you, or to everyone earlier, what an inspiration you are to all of us, Miss Ada. So we're super excited. We're looking forward. All of us are looking forward to reading each other books and seeing you as well at the April 20th conference. All right, let's move over to Miss Michelle Grimes. Michelle Grimes, if you would unmute and come on and tell the title of your book, and then I will ask my question.
Okay. All right. The title of my book is The Endless Possibilities of My Life's Journey Through Listening, Observing, Patience, and Following Guidance.
That is great. So Michelle has written a memoir, and she just gave us the title and the subtitle of her book, but we love that. And my question for you, Michelle, is, can you share any unique rituals or habits that you've developed to maintain focus and productivity during your writing sessions?
Yeah. One of the things that I do, I'm a woo-woo girl. I'm not ashamed to say it. I light a candle, a little tea light. And excuse me, I light a candle. I get my water or tea. I have that by me because look like to me that goes hand in hand. And I also try to do my writing during the day. In the past, I've always gotten up really early to get everything done, but I'm more relaxed now since I retired, but I still have that early morning energy that pushes me to get things done. If I didn't do it the day before, I'm gonna be in there first thing when I get up in the morning. That's a priority. I gotta get, it's just something says, you gotta get it done. You gotta get it done. Don't put it off another day. Do it. So during the daylight, excuse me, before the sun goes down, and usually before 12 o'clock, that's when I have that writing energy comes upon me. The candle, light the candle, and also get that water or tea and to keep me hydrated. And I don't know, it provides some type of energy for me. So that's ritual.
We love that. We love that. And again, we are looking forward to reading your book. I've read some of the manuscript, and it is very good. And again, we're excited about it. So thank you so much. We're going to move over now to Miss Monica Asu. Monica, if you would unmute yourself, come on and give the title of your book, and then I have your question.
My name is Monica Asu. The title of my book is Gracefully Broken but Not Ashamed.
Wow, gracefully broken but not ashamed. So Monica, writing a book is a significant time commitment. How did you manage your time effectively, especially if you have other responsibilities or a full-time job?
Ladies, I am guilty of some degree of procrastination. I have to be honest to you. But I realized mainly because I didn't have much confidence in myself in writing. But then I realized the book is really not for me. It's really not for me. So I have to dig deep into my soul, and then decided, you know what, Monica, you have to do this. So how I do this, Miss Phyllis and ladies on this panel tonight, I try to avoid a lot of distractions because I do get distracted. Little things distract me a lot. So I find my own working environment. I chose to do that. And one of the things I do, I like to go out to the lake. And I would sit myself down and bring my tape recorder. And then I would be talking and I would be just expressing myself. And then I would come home and then I'll just dictate what I say from my tape. And I also I choose a time of day. If I'm home in the morning time, I get up early at 5 o'clock and then I'd have my devotion. And then it's such a quiet morning. I would pick that time and then in the middle of the night. Those times when I know it's just me and the Lord and my mind is quiet, I don't have to be worrying about all the other things. And because I know I have to do this, I make it a priority. So that's what I have done. And I write in short phases to Miss Phyllis. I really do. I take the little time. And I also try not to be perfect, because I have struggled with perfection, being perfect. So I try to not to be perfect, just to sit down, relax, just get it out the way, Monica. Just do your thing and let these editors edit your stuff. So that's what I have
Love that, Monica. Love that. And I too am an early riser, 5 in the mornings, and I love the quietness, doing my devotional, and then after that, getting into my writing. So I feel you there. That's perfect. Love that. But Monica also said that she goes in the middle of the night as well. So you choose your time that's best for you and just write. As Monica said, don't try to be perfect. You just write. So Monica, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing. And we look forward to reading your book. Up next is Angel Gaddis. Miss Angel Gaddis is going to come on and tell us the title of your book, and then I will ask your question, Angel.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Miss Phyllis, for having me. The title of my book is The Innocence of a Guilty Victim.
Wow, love that. And your question is, can you share a memorable moment from the writing process, whether it was a breakthrough in your narrative or an unexpected plot twist or a challenging scene that required careful consideration?
Yes, ma'am. So it all started during my editing process. Growing up, I guess I initially thought that I had dealt with my childhood issues with my parents. But through the editing process, I had accepted it. I didn't deal with it. So through the process of editing, I realized that I was still, that little girl was still had a hold on me. And I had to figure out how to release that little girl because I want to live again. I want to move past that so I can get to my purpose. And so I sat in it for a long time. And then I realized that although my father wasn't there, God was my father. Although I didn't get the nurturing from my mother, God nurtured me. And although I really didn't understand why they even had me, it's because God had a purpose. And so once I started realizing that and saying it over and over again, I realized that the next step was to forgive my parents and be honest. I will be honest. It hurt me really bad to have to tell my mother that I was angry and I was at the point of hate, and that's not of God. And so I had to sit in that, and the emotions came out. I allowed them to come out. I allowed myself to be angry. I allowed myself not to like her. And I got past that. I prayed, I cried, I prayed. And God does everything so strategic. I always say it. There was no chaos or confusion for the first time. Before the day before Thanksgiving, I was able to have a conversation with my mom, and I was able to be honest. And the first thing she said was, I already knew. We had never been in this place. It would always be an argument, or I was always wrong, and then it just end because of everybody yelling. So nothing was getting through. But this time we both accepted how we felt, and we were able to move on. And I know it was nothing but God. So I'm very grateful for that. Even with my father, same thing. And hate is a strong word, but I had to be honest and honest with myself, because I never lived in my truth. I was scared to be honest of who I was and how I felt, because I didn't want to hurt anyone else when I was really hurting myself. So this book was meant to heal others, but it actually healed me. And
Wow.
so I'm in
Wow.
an amazing place. I am so grateful for where I am, and I am really grateful that my daughters got to see this process.
Wow, that is so good. She just preached a mini sermon here, but we we love the breakthrough. We love the healing process. And in writing your book, you were writing it for someone else, which it is for someone else, but you also received a healing as you were doing so. We are all excited to read all of these books. You guys it's just so great. So thank you, Angel.
Thank you,
And
Miss Phyllis.
you are welcome. Let's move over to Angela Hayes now. Angela Hayes, give the title of your book. And actually, Angela, I had given you two questions, so I'm going to let you tell the question that you are answering.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you, Ms. Phyllis, for having me. The first question that you sent is, I don't have it up before me, but do you have it, Ms. Phyllis?
I do have it. And is that the question, okay, that we're answering? Sweet. What's the title of your book?
The title of my book is More Than Meets the Eye.
Okay, More Than Meets the Eye. And so your question is, the writing process can be emotionally intense. How did you manage the emotional highs and the emotional lows that often accompany the creation of a book?
Well, first of all, I would like to say to everyone out here that you will go through different degrees of emotional highs and lows. But if you are in it for the long haul, you can do it. And so it was three things that really just kind of stood out to me, that my ways of managing was one, scheduling to write, two, perseverance, and three, remembering my why. So when I talk about scheduling to write, you really have to see what really works with your schedule. Some people are very good in the morning, afternoon, throughout the day, evening, or at night. I discovered over this process that I was better in the mornings. And so our ministry has a morning prayer line Tuesday through Friday. So we do 6 a.m. to 6:30. And one of those days out of the week, I have to be the prayer leader. So I realized after prayer, I was ready to go. And those were the times that I would really receive specific instructions, specific downloads from the Holy Spirit. I could really hear clearly. I could really hear God's voice in what I needed to share for my story. So scheduling your time to write is very important. Now, I will say this. I'm not saying I did meet the schedule every day. that I set out for myself, I didn't. So do not beat yourself up. Just get back up on the bicycle, get back on the treadmill, and just go at it again. And it may be times that something in your story hits you. So you want to be prepared to either speak it into some sort of device, whether it's your phone, be prepared to make notes of some sort, whether it's writing or whether it's verbally. So scheduling time to write will do you a lot of good. Perseverance, number 2, staying power. Perseverance, I thank God for that, because that is something God has really put in me. And maybe it's because of, what it took for me to get here. And you'll hear a portion of that in my book about some of the scenarios around my childbearing, getting into the earth. So perseverance, having that stick to itness, irregardless of any type of difficulties, because we all will go through difficulties. We'll go through some tests and challenges during this time of writing, but it will actually strengthen you if you just stick to it and you just stay with it. It may be a day you write a little, it may be a day you write much, but if you just stick with it and stay with it, I promise you that you will get to the end of the finish line. And number 3, remembering your why. Why did you sign up anyway? Why did you come into the Authors Academy? Why did you join the Writer's Journey anyway? Why do you want to write a book? Some of my whys is to impact the lives of others, also to make a difference in the lives of other people, and to help others build capacity. So all those 3 things, there is something that has happened to me. God has used other people to do that for me. Miss Phyllis and this whole group of writing sisters, and in some instances brothers, that we are helpers one to another. So we have helped each other get stronger. We have helped each other get wiser. We have helped each other get better. And we have helped each other to be stretched beyond of what we thought that we could be stretched. So remember, this is that you are leaving legacy. You are first creating a legacy, and you're also leaving a legacy. So those are some of the things that have kept me on this journey. And I will continue to write, because I've discovered that I am a chosen writer of the kingdom of God. So God bless everyone.
Love that. A chosen writer. Love that. And again, Angela will be one of our our authors at the April 20th conference. Last but not least, we are going to go to Chastity. Chastity, I'm going to ask you to unmute and give the title of your book. And in doing so, I would like to ask you, how did you determine your target audience for your book, Chastity?
Okay. Hello, ladies. The title of my book is Unleashing Me, A Spiritual Journey of Healing Emotion, Mental, and Physically. So how I became with the title of my book, you know that I'm a military spouse. And there's a lot of military spouse that has went through domestic violence. So during my initial writing in the anthology, I asked the Lord why, when I first went through in my 20s with domestic violence. And along with asking why, I had to wait till this time in this moment to go through healing emotionally, mentally, and physically. And it takes time and everything with healing when you have dealt with in-depth trauma and pain. So along my time, I have also served the community in my time. I also have talked to other women dealing with trauma and pain of all sorts and everything. And so I thought, well, at this time in the divine moment, meeting Miss Phyllis and Miss Venezuela was a divine moment for me with God, with me writing my story. And also now I can say this, I could talk about it without crying. I could talk about it in joy. I could talk about it within everything that God has given me back was love, peace, joy, and happiness. And so that's the main thing that I enjoy with writing my story and everything, and be able to speak to other women. How did I actually get through with all the obstacles, with all the pain, with everything that you're going to go through every single day? It might be your highs and low days, how you get up the next morning to tackle your job, your children, your family, everything you have on top of where that underlying pain is hidden underneath. And I'm trying to push through, Lord, with this, but Lord, I got to take care of this. So therefore, like, I really this time enjoy my writing. I enjoy right now. I'm letting ladies know that I'm writing my second book. And what I have seen more things about myself. I have discovered another technique that I had to endure with writing my introduction. It came out in scripture in my introduction, another thing that I got to tackle. And I was like, Lord, wow, this is the other piece. So you know that there is many, many pieces to healing through your trauma and your pain or whatever. Like the Lord going to surprise you, but he also going to surprise you where you can shed that tear for that one night. But the next day you be like, Lord, thank you that I done came over. I tell a lot of women now, you think about your 20s and your 30s, those struggles you went through. Go back, look, you don't survive. We can survive right now. You hear me? When I say the Lord done discovered that it's not domestic violence survivor, it's domestic violence warrior. You're a warrior. Let me tell you how you break down that warrior. Because you're going to war of your circumstances. You're going to cry. You're going to holler. You're going to push through. Every day you might not feel your best when you get up in that morning. At 5 o'clock in the morning, you got to go to work, but you feel all this weight up on you. God needs you to war through those circumstances. And that's what he has discovered with me. Everything that attached to me, I'm going to war through it. Even with this writing, I was telling Miss Phyllis, I had to go back to the doctor last week. And I didn't tell my husband. I didn't tell nobody. But I had started feeling a nerve pain. It's on this side of my head to my face. Where does nerve pain come from that's trying to attack me? My eyes flickering and everything. I had to start taking naps. I had to start going to sleep. And I go to the doctor last week. He said, you had trauma? Yes, my eardrum was busted. My eyes got holes. Both my eyes got holes behind them from trauma. But guess what? I got you. We releasing this book regardless of what. Or whatever the enemy gonna try to attack you. So guess what? But God, what your word say? Your word said you are a healer. You're a deliverer. And this would not be, this not gonna stop me. Or whatever, even if I have to do it with my eyes shut. God, this is not gonna stop me. Or whatever, I'm gonna go to the doctor and figure out whatever is going on with this trauma. But the same token, I know why you showed up. I know why the enemy showed up and everything. So guess what? I'm good. And that's why I said I'm a war sister. Because at the end of the day, when the enemy comes, y'all might see Chelsea quiet and all to herself. But let the enemy show up. You got your sister from the hood that's going to show up, that know how to pray, that know how to that know how to tell the enemy, you better bow down, because everything bow down in the name of Jesus. And that's who Chastity is. And speaking with other women, and that's what I do on my one-on-one time, speaking with other women when I talk about, my book, and even from my past in my 20s and 30s, there's a different sister that's going to show up when the enemy show up or whatever. And that's that same sister from the hood. She's going to show up, but she's going to show up differently. And that's what my mama told me. She said, Chess, you got to take that fighting spirit that you had with the hood and everything else. Now you got to use it for the spiritual realm. And that's what I do. I use it for the spiritual realm. And guess what? We will go to war for all domestic violence sisters that don't went through anything. If you went through any trauma and pain, guess what? You got to ride and die, sister. That will always put the enemy to the ground. Or whether he's defeated already. And I'm so happy that I finished this book. that I made through the obstacles, I told my kids, I said, now it's time to go to war. For some other sisters that might be suffering trauma and emotional pain, it's time to go to war.
And everybody said, amen. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I've heard Chastity on fire like this before. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Chastity, for sharing. We look forward to reading your book. We look forward to hearing you stand on stage April 20th. Each of you stand on stage April 20th and tell your stories. And they will all be launching their books and doing their book signings. So we want to say thank you for tuning in and watching our behind the scenes of the Writer's Journey, the Authors Academy authors who will be publishing their books soon. Their books will be published soon. They will be standing on stage, as I've mentioned, in April and doing their book signings. So you've heard it today. You've heard the back scene, the behind the scenes, what it takes to start from the manuscript, from the beginning on up through the end of the manuscript. And so again, if you are interested in joining the 14-day trial of the Writer's Journey, just go to my website, sign up, and come on over because we're looking forward to having you. We will see you all back here next week. Bye-bye.